This is clearly a tragedy in the city of Charleston.
What happened in that room that night should never be forgotten.
I believe there are still some good people in this world, in our communities, who really want to do the heavy lifting.
We don't celebrate what happened 10 years ago. We remember who we lost.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Welcome in. A day forever etched in Charleston's history. 10 years ago today, 9 church members were killed at Mother went into a Bible study and started shooting. Today, a day of mourning and remembrance for those victims, survivors, and their families. And we have team coverage tonight sharing the stories of those we lost. And we begin with our Katie Solt, who was at the church today for the ecumenical service. And Katie, certainly an emotional day for everyone.
Tessa, the themes of love, strength, and resilience echoed throughout Mother Emanuel today. Every speaker, from family members of the victims to survivors of other mass shootings, agreed the only way forward is together, and hate will not win.
Mother Emanuel, as Rabbi has said, will continue to be a light in the pathway of darkness.
A light and a source of love.
I need you to give somebody a hug that looks different than you and tell them that you love them. Go.
But also a stark reminder of the pain experienced in these walls.
I promise her I'll try to do the opposite of her killing.
Family, friends, community members, and even some from around the country coming together to remember the Emanuel 9.
Psalm 34, verse 18 reassures us that God is near to the brokenhearted. His presence provides comfort. His love offers healing, and His grace gives us strength to carry on.
Sharing happy memories of those we lost.
The first time I ever preached in this church, Reverend Pinckney welcomed me, and my mama was very much alive, sitting on the front row. Mama was pleased. She gave me her approval, and that's all that mattered to me.
For some, resilience can be you get knocked down, you get up instantly. For others, resilience is being able to stand and move forward from everything in your being tells you to stay down. And even though I was in a really rough spot, things will be okay in the future.
And survivors of another mass shooting in Pittsburgh, sharing memories of hope and inspiration they received from the congregation here.
Our shared horror of massacres in our respective buildings thrust us together, but that is not what keeps us together. Both of us were assaulted by Americans who did not want us to exist, who thought that their violence would solve their perceived problems. If anything, it forced us to create a club that nobody should have to be a member of. I believe that God sends angels when we need them most. And I'd like to introduce you to my angel, Pastor Eric Manning of Mother Emanuel AME Church.
No matter how many years we're away from you, we will remember you and what you did for us.
And even though the wounds are still healing, the only way forward is together. Hundreds of people attended that service this morning. One of them, Charleston Mayor William Cogswell. And while he was not mayor at the time of the shooting, he stressed the importance of continuing to show support for the Mother Emanuel family.
We still feel the effects every day of what happened 10 years ago. It was a horrible tragedy.
That love and support evident today as people filled those pews. Our Emily Deanne was here before the service as well and got the chance to talk with some local leaders and others coming to show their support. Emily, a very emotional day for everyone that set foot in this church.
That's right, Katie. Ahead of the memorial service today, I saw people placing flowers in remembrance of the fallen, saying prayers, and taking a moment of silence outside as they walked by the church. In fact, Cogswell taking a moment to himself to pray after he sat down ahead of this morning's service. He was joined by other elected officials from around the Low Country. Leaders from all backgrounds joined community members to share in a time of reflection. A decade later, they say it's important to not forget the acts of violence in our community so we continue to push for change.
We're here to pay respects to the victims and their families and the survivors as well, but to let them know that we're still thinking of them. We're still working to make Charleston a better place and make our state a better place.
Cogswell says this also means acknowledging the humanity and dignity of the victims and keeping their memories alive. Days like today encourage reflection on how far we have come and how far we still need to go. Ahead at 6, hear from more faith leaders, professors, and community members who visited the church to pay their respects.
On the 10th anniversary of the shooting at Mother Emanuel AME Church, we are remembering the victims.
It kind of keeps us busy, but around this time of year, it is always hard to just think about, like, what if he was here?
Taiwanza Sanders was the youngest victim of the shooting at 26 years old.
College grad, love the Lord, love church, love people.
He was at Bible study with his mother the night he was killed.
To go through what they've been through, dealing with that, dealing with, his mom being there and him pretty much saving her and many others' lives. It's been something that we probably don't think about enough.
Taiwanza worked as a barber and was a graduate of Allen University. In a photo shoot just months before his death, Taiwanza posed with a guitar, proud to show off the new hobby he was learning.
Mind over matter, grind over matter. Life realizations begin to form pattern.
He also shared his own work as a poet, speaking from the heart.
It's a tragedy that our morality and mentality is living so horizontally. The gravity of one's reality we believe that we're our majesty.
Friends and family started a nonprofit in his memory and also have a scholarship foundation in his honor. The Race for Wanza 5K is held every spring to help raise money for the scholarship fund.
You kind of get to sit back and think about, how we lost him, but how that negative situation turned into such a positive situation for so many people, so many students. It's been a blessing.
They say the event helps in the healing and in remembering a man who saved lives that horrific day.
There has been a lot of healing, and to see the impact that it's making on the younger generations coming up, not only to, keep his name and the other 8 people that were there alive through what we're doing. He would be proud. He would be proud.
If there is one moment in the hours and days following the tragedy that may stick out as the most important, Chris Singleton's moment could be it. And sports director Scott Eisberg, who was working that night, joins us live with more. Scotty?
Yeah, Tessa, certainly the moment I remember more than any other moment was that one. I was at the baseball vigil at Collins Park where they expected Chris Singleton to speak, but he didn't. But a half hour or so later, he called then CSU head coach Stuart Lake, and he said he had something to say. It led to a late night impromptu press conference at CSU's Nielsen Field. Nobody knew what to expect or if Chris would actually speak. what happened next, one of those moments in time that I remember watching that video as soon as it came here to me in the studio with tears, knowing immediately this would be the moment. This would do a world of good. And bewildered how Chris could deliver that speech, that love is stronger than hate message, encouraging all to love like his mom, Sharonda. Many still feel strongly. Those words preventing rioting, looting, pushing people towards prayer and togetherness in the holy city. Those who stood around him that night with a front row seat to history 10 years later.
Because I'm not sure I could have handled the situation like he did. I know I couldn't, you know what I mean? And because it wasn't even my mom, and I was distraught, you know what I mean? Me, Chris, I was with his family, you know, we sat in that hotel across from the church all night the night before and cried all night long.
I mean, you talk adversity. Chris was dealing with the highest level of adversity and handling it in a way that was just so Jesus-like. I mean, it was a calm that he was bringing to us as the adults who were there to calm him.
In order to 10 year, and I actually got the tattoo, man, the dove.
Oh, wow.
Free with the doves, man. I got it like a month ago.
Richard Alston showing me right there. He and Chris got a 10-year anniversary tattoo together to commemorate. Always keep Sharonda and her Bible study group's memory in the forefront. Chris already had that one with the tree.
Yeah.
Now Richard has it, and Chris got one that was personal to him.
Yeah.
The two of them have had this amazing bond all the way through. It really is incredible. And I mean, just putting together the piece that will run at 6 o'clock, all of the memories just washed across, and things that you didn't remember come back so vividly from that night.
Absolutely. I had an opportunity to meet Sharonda maybe a year before the tragedy in the pulpit of Mother Emanuel for an event that I was emceeing, and just to be able to tell her then, and I saw it, I said, I just have to tell you, you have such a glow. Right now in your face, I see such a glow.
And the amazing thing about it, that smile is exact. And Chris and Caleb, you know, her children just kind of purvey that smile now. And that's the amazing thing. She would be so proud of how good the people they've become. And when you look back on that whole situation, and it's just, everyone said the same thing. If Chris hadn't done that, we could have had mayhem in this city. Chris should be on any type of Mount Rushmore you would have of Charleston figures because of what he did for our city that night.
That's right. Actually starting the healing process.
It started the healing and the forgiveness.
And the forgiveness. Thanks, God. Looking forward to the package.
Absolutely.
On the 10th anniversary of the shooting at Mother Emanuel AME Church, we are remembering the victims.
We hope that it will help bring peace and comfort to the families as well.
Reverend Clemente Pinckney, the head of Mother Emanuel AME, was a force in the church.
We will gather for a mass prayer meeting to seek unity, justice, and direction.
Reverend Pinckney had been active in the church community for decades.
He always wore a suit and tie to school, even in the 9th and 10th grade. So we always knew he was going to be a leader in some sort.
He became pastor at Mother Emanuel in 2010, leading with a booming voice and a kind heart.
Throughout the ages, prayer has been the response of the religious community whenever a tragedy takes place and whenever the country or community needs guidance and we need to find focus in a new direction.
And in politics, he served as a state senator since 2000 and was a fixture in the Lowcountry.
I think he passed a lot of legislation that would reflect his character. When you talk about education, trying to help people get jobs, he was there. So he was definitely a lawmaker of action, and I was proud to be his friend for many years.
Above all, he was a devoted and loving husband and father to 2 daughters.
He was our rock, you know, and so they're definitely going to miss him. And we talk about him, and we'll always talk about him.
A local minister and artist is using music to continue sharing the legacy of one of the 9 Mother Emanuel shooting victims. For the first time, Charleston is hearing an unfinished song by DePayne Middleton Doctor, And our Claire Weber sat down with Charles Miller to discuss and listen to the song he and DePayne have been working on for years. Claire, I'm looking forward to hearing this story.
It's a beautiful song, Tessa. It's called The Man I Know, and Miller says it's about one's personal relationship with Jesus. He says DePayne loved the Lord, and he can feel it every time he hears her voice.
Just weeks before her untimely death, DePayne Middleton doctor was working on a song with her friend Charles Miller.
We just had a real great connection. I knew where she wanted to go as far as a lot of the things that she was singing and her style of singing, and so we meshed very well.
For the last 10 years, Miller has held on to DePayne's vocals, keeping them to himself and some of her family.
The morning after the tragedy happened, the song actually came back to my mind right then and there, and I went back in my email, and I just couldn't believe that I had forgotten about this song.
Miller now sharing the unfinished song publicly in a forum Monday night.
I think it was a moment in the venue where we all just kind of stopped and listened.
DePayne's loved ones hearing her voice for the first time in 10 years.
She had a very infectious smile. When I hear the song, I hear the voice of my friend.
Offering Miller a language of its own.
Music is one of those things that really unites us and can really speak beyond the boundaries of hate, prejudice.
And while DePayne's loved ones continue on their path of healing, Miller hopes her lyrics will be encouragement to keep strong.
It's a song of hope, it's a song of journey and inspiration for a lot of people, and I think it's definitely a song for the world to hear.
And Miller used to be a musician at Mother Emanuel AME Church and says he knew each of the 9 victims. Like DePayne's song, he has a personal reminder of each of them that he's held on to for the last decade. Claire Weber, News 4.
On the 10th anniversary of the shooting at Mother Emanuel AME Church, we are remembering the victims. Reverend Sharonda Coleman Singleton was an assistant pastor at Mother Emanuel. She was also a loving.
My mom's ability to be likable in me. I don't really know anybody that didn't like my mom.
Her love stretched to the students she worked with at Goose Creek High School. Her mentorship evident as she coached the track and field team.
I already feel like I'm blessed that my mom is remembered the way that she is.
Her son Chris played baseball at Charleston Southern University and was 19 when his mother was killed. Just one day after his mother's murder, he worked to share her message of love.
My mom was a God-fearing woman. She loved everybody with all her heart. Love is always stronger than hate. So if we just love the way my mom would, then the hate won't be anywhere close to.
The baseball complex at CSU named in her memory.
The complex named in honor of his mother.
Seeing my last name on a building, my mom's last name on a building is great. I walked inside and see the Sharonda Coleman Singleton Enrichment Center. I think that's amazing.
Chris still trying to spread the message of love thy neighbor as a motivational speaker and author, all to honor his mother and her memory.
Well, I've dedicated my life to keeping the memory of my mom and 8 others alive that were taken away on June 17, 2015. And so certain times when things happen in your life, you realize, hey, you might have thought you had this path that you were going down, and then, I believe that God gives you a different path to go down. And I'm just trying to be, successful and do what I can with that path. And so every day that I wake up is an opportunity for me to just teach love.